Picture this. It's a hot August afternoon in 2003. You're at your office, maybe stuck in traffic, or just chilling at home. Suddenly everything stops. The lights go out. The air conditioning dies. Your computer screen goes black. For a moment, you think it's just your building. Then you look outside. Traffic lights are out. The entire city block is dark. You check your phone, no signal. This isn't just a local outage. This is something massive. On August 14th, 2003, this exact scenario became a reality for 55 million people across the northeastern United States and parts of Canada. It was the largest blackout in North American history. A cascading failure that plunged cities like New York, Cleveland, Detroit, and Toronto into darkness. What started as a few tripped power lines in Ohio spiraled into a continental crisis in a matter of hours. How could something like this happen? How could a system designed to be resilient collapse so spectacularly? Today we're diving deep into the story of the Great Northeast Blackout of 2003, a shocking chain reaction that revealed the surprising fragility of our modern world. It's a story of overgrown trees, software bugs, human error, and a power grid pushed to its absolute limit. So stay with me as we unravel the minute-by-minute breakdown of a day that brought a superpower to its knees. The story of this colossal blackout begins not with a bang, but with a whisper. It all started on a sweltering Thursday afternoon in northern Ohio. Demand for electricity was sky-high as millions of air conditioners worked overtime to combat the summer heat. The power grid, a complex web of generating stations and transmission lines, was under immense strain. Around 1:31 p.m., a high-voltage power line in Walton Hills, Ohio, sagged under the heat and came into contact with an overgrown tree branch. This caused the line to short-circuit and trip offline. Normally, this is no big deal. The grid is designed with redundancies. Power is simply rerouted through other lines. But this was just the first domino. Over the next hour and a half, 3 more crucial transmission lines in the same area also failed, all for the same mundane reason. They sagged into untrimmed trees. The problem was, the people who needed to know about these failures didn't. A critical software bug in the alarm system at First Energy, the Ohio-based utility company managing the lines, meant that operators were completely unaware of the escalating crisis. Their screens showed a stable system, while in reality, the grid was becoming dangerously unbalanced. With each downed line, the remaining ones had to carry more and more power. Like a group of people trying to hold up a heavy weight when one person after another lets go, the strain was becoming unbearable. The tipping point came at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time. The overloaded system couldn't take it anymore. In a desperate attempt to protect itself from catastrophic damage, the grid began to automatically shut down in a massive, cascading failure. Power plants across the region disconnected from the grid one by one, like a string of Christmas lights where one faulty bulb takes out the whole chain. The blackout spread like wildfire. It raced east across Lake Erie, knocking out power in Cleveland, Toledo, and Detroit. Within minutes, it reached Ontario, Canada, plunging Toronto and Ottawa into darkness. It then surged south and east, hitting Buffalo, Albany, and finally, at 4:10 p.m., the biggest prize of all, New York City. In less than 10 minutes, a problem that started with a single tree branch in Ohio had cascaded into an international power crisis, affecting an area the size of Western Europe. 55 million people were suddenly without electricity, and nobody knew why or for how long. The immediate impact was chaos. Imagine being in New York City when the power goes out. Subways, carrying hundreds of thousands of commuters, screeched to a halt between stations, trapping passengers in dark, sweltering tunnels. Elevators stopped mid-floor, stranding people in high-rises. Traffic lights went dead, leading to instant gridlock as cars, buses, and trucks clogged every intersection. With no electricity, gas pumps didn't work, ATMs were useless, and credit card machines were just plastic bricks. Cash became king overnight. Cell phone networks were immediately overwhelmed and collapsed, cutting off the primary means of communication for millions. For the first few hours, wild rumors spread. Was it a terrorist attack? A chilling echo of 9/11s, which had happened less than 2 years prior? Government officials quickly moved to quell these fears, but in the absence of information, anxiety ran high. But amidst the chaos, something remarkable happened. In cities across the blackout zone, A sense of community and calm prevailed. In New York, millions of people had to get home from Manhattan with no public transportation. They simply started walking. The iconic Brooklyn Bridge became a river of pedestrians heading home. Strangers helped each other, sharing water and information. People directed traffic at intersections. Bodegas and restaurants gave away melting ice cream and grilled food on sidewalks, feeding hungry crowds for free. As dusk fell, the cities transformed. Without the usual glow of electric lights, the night sky was filled with stars that were rarely visible. People gathered on stoops and in parks, talking to neighbors they'd never met. It was a forced shutdown of modern life, a moment that was both unnerving and strangely beautiful. Of course, the blackout wasn't a universal block party. For emergency services, it was a nightmare. Hospitals had to switch to backup generators, which weren't always reliable. They had to cancel all non-emergency surgeries and stretch their resources to the limit. Police and fire departments were inundated with calls from people trapped in elevators to an increase in fires caused by candles. In cities like Detroit and Cleveland, the challenges were even greater. The economic consequences were also immense. The blackout is estimated to have cost the economy somewhere between $6 and $10 billion in lost productivity, spoiled goods, and emergency response efforts. It was a stark reminder of how completely dependent our society is on a constant, uninterrupted flow of electricity. So how did they turn the lights back on? Restoring power to a collapsed grid isn't as simple as flipping a switch. It's a delicate and methodical process called a black start. Power plants have to be brought back online, one at a time, and carefully synchronized with the grid. If you try to do it too quickly, you risk causing another surge that could undo all your work or even cause more damage. For some areas, power was restored within a few hours. For others, especially in parts of New York and Detroit, the outage lasted for over 2 days. By the evening of Saturday, August 16th, power had been restored to most of the affected population. In the aftermath, the inevitable question was, how do we prevent this from ever happening again? A joint U.S.-Canada task force was created to investigate the root causes. Their final report was a damning indictment of systemic failures. It pinpointed the primary cause as FirstEnergy's failure to properly manage tree growth along its power line corridors, but it went deeper than that. It also highlighted the inadequate situational awareness caused by the software bug, the failure of regional grid operators to provide effective real-time diagnostic support, and a general lack of mandatory and enforceable reliability standards for the entire North American power industry. The blackout wasn't just an accident. It was the result of a system that lacked accountability. The 2003 blackout became a massive wake-up call. In its wake, the United States passed the Energy Policy Act of 2005. This landmark legislation gave the federal government the authority to enforce mandatory reliability standards for the electrical grid. Before this, compliance with industry standards was largely voluntary. Now, companies could be fined heavily for not meeting them. This led to significant investment in grid monitoring technology, operator training, and yes, more aggressive vegetation management programs. Essentially, the country was forced to modernize its aging electrical infrastructure. The grid today is smarter, more resilient, and better monitored than it was in 2003, largely because of the lessons learned from that chaotic August day. The story of the 2003 blackout is a fascinating case study in how interconnected and fragile our complex systems are. It shows how something as simple as a tree branch can trigger a continent-spanning crisis when combined with technological glitches and human oversight. But it also reveals a more positive story about human resilience and community in the face of adversity. When the technology failed, people stepped up. While we've made great strides in strengthening our power grid since then, the threat of large-scale blackouts hasn't disappeared. New challenges like climate change leading to more extreme weather and the growing threat of cyber attacks on critical infrastructure mean we can never afford to be complacent. The Great Blackout of 2003 remains a powerful reminder that the invisible network that powers our lives is both a marvel of engineering and a vulnerability we must constantly work to protect. Thank you so much for watching. What do you remember from the 2003 blackout if you were there? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this story as fascinating as I did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. See you next time.